Welcome to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things going on in the real estate industry, helping you take the road less traveled to real estate success, guiding you to the top 10%. I am your co-host, Curtis Haddock, alongside my favorite other co-host, Casey Tudor and Brooke Massey, and we have a special guest here today with us.
Am I not your favorite co-host?
I said my favorite co-hosts.
Okay, just make sure.
Don't get in our feels so early.
We haven't even started.
Or we can, we haven't even started. And I haven't even got to introduce the guest yet. We got Jacob Crouch sitting on the couch here with us today. Welcome, Jacob. It's good to have you here. Jacob is one of our preferred lenders, and we are excited to have him on because of our topic today.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Well, first I have to put out there that I would rather be Crouch on the couch than Casey Tudor has a pooter. So
I can't even rhyme my last name, so at least you can rhyme yours.
yeah, but yours is like a fish.
Yeah. Hey, and if we really were like doing favorites, you already know. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
You know what? I'm confident in myself that I'm okay with that.
Okay, so but what are we talking about today?
We're going to be talking about lending and the relationship mainly between lenders and realtors and how do they add value to each other.
Well, I'm here to tell you they don't. And that's what we're going to prove today.
Sometimes that is 100% true.
Yeah.
I know.
Welcome.
What's the real truth about what we don't like?
Well, no,
about
I can start off with a question for you, Jacob, because
I know he's going off script.
Hit me with it.
Yeah, I already know the one value that realtors consider as valuable with a lender relationship, and I saw somebody post this like a week ago, and they were like, I haven't had a closing in a while. My budget's getting tight. Better start calling all my lenders and going to lunch.
What, are you all getting lunch?
Yeah. It'll be delivered here here before too long.
Because then we're going to record another episode with another lender.
This is a whole
You gotta have dinner. You gotta have dinner for tonight, and
Do you ever feel like people are
feel
like
used
taking
like a piece of meat?
Yeah.
I don't. I enjoy going out with realtors and taking them to lunch. It's not overly expensive. It depends on how many you go to, probably within a week. But no, I enjoy it. I like collaborating with the realtors and figuring out what they're struggling with. If that means I have to buy them a meal, I'm happy to do so.
I think it comes down to your mindset, because if that were me, and even if they told me like, hey, I'm just using you to go to lunch, like I don't, because I've done that to a lender, like,
Sure.
And I told them, I said, listen, I got a preferred lender. I have no intention on switching, but I'm happy if you want to take me to lunch.
Yeah.
And they said yes, and that tells me their mindset is right, because I just want an opportunity, right? So if I can get in front of you, then that gives me an opportunity to sell myself to you, my services, whatever that looks like. Mm-hmm. And I know that it may not be tomorrow when you send me somebody, but if we form some sort of connection, then all I'm waiting for is that something bad to happen with your current lender relationship, or if we continue to stay in communication, the relationship might build further than your
it
other
happens.
one. It's a mindset. You got to have the right mindset.
Yeah, and my goal is always when I go into those meetings of adding value. I think we all want to add value, whether we're talking to a client or talking to a realtor, talking to a loan officer. If I was to go to lunch with you, Curtis, and you tell me that up front, I'm like, okay, but I could probably find something to add value to your business, whether it's with me or with somebody else. I always want to have that goal in mind. So I can probably find something within that conversation to point out of being like, okay, well, here's something different that you could maybe look at or use in your day-to-day.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, I love it. And people, a lot of realtors forget like how important that relationship with a lender, or even sometimes some people have relationships with multiple lenders, and how it just helps you, because I tell my clients like, hey, we're a team, right? Like you can go use whoever lender that you want, but at the end of the day, like I partner with this person because I know that we're going to get from contract to close. And if there is any issues, I know that this person is going to pick up their phone and whatever else because of that relationship. So versus someone using like a big national bank and then they're in California and it's 2 hours behind, and you're sitting at the closing table and maybe you closed at 3 p.m. and it's, well, I don't even know time zone, so don't judge me on that. It's 3 p.m. here and it's like 5 p.m. in California and it's closed. I think it's reversed, but that's
It's
okay.
reversed. Yeah.
You should know that going to
Still,
Disney
it's
every
like the
weekend.
same thing. I mean, regardless, maybe they're on the other coast then, in New York.
There you go.
New York would only be 1 hour ahead. Sorry.
Well, then they're
Yeah, I think
freaking England.
I think
don't know.
accessibility to your lender is super important. I mean, there's obviously there's some respect involved and being reasonable with their response time and whatnot. But like having someone who will is going to get back with you, sooner or later is super comforting, and you can pass that on to your buyers of like, hey, look, this guy's super responsive and may not be immediate, but like he will get it done. He will get back with you. That's just so important.
Do most realtors expect, in your experience, Jacob, are they calling like on weekends and nights or anything? Like, do they expect availability like 24/7 since we are working 24/7 pretty much?
Yeah, and I set that up front with my realtor partners. I'm a big advocate of, if you guys are working, I need to be available. A lot of buyers and borrowers can't go look at houses during the week, and you need to make yourself available. I have realtors that reach out to me all the time and being like, hey, we saw a house today. This is a new client for me. I just got introduced to them on Friday. It's Saturday now. They want to make an offer. They don't have a pre-approval. Can you get that to me? We as loan professionals need to have the same schedule roughly as realtors as well. To be collaborative partners, I think that's super important. To your point, Brooke, is that one term that I try to get away from and have my realtor partners get away from is preferred lender. I think you could say it in a different way that comes off a little bit better. I like the term trusted lender instead.
Nice.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like it.
I like that.
Because
I used the word. I already used the term already once
right.
today.
And I've heard it
Way
a
to-
couple times
way to-
this morning.
He just provided value.
Yeah, way to throw us under the bus, man.
Yeah, no. And I can kind of explain myself a little
Invite
bit
you
on
this
that
podcast, and then all of a sudden, I'm just kidding.
It's funny though that now you say that, it's like, oh, that actually makes really good sense.
I mean, if
I mean, I would prefer that too.
You would prefer it or you'd trust it?
It's the same.
Well, I would prefer to trust it.
I would prefer to trust it.
right,
Not
right.
trust and prefer it.
But I mean, if you tell a client, this is my preferred lender, that could mean anything to that client.
sure could.
And
Right.
and it could be because it's your buddy and he's a
Yeah.
lender, or he takes you out to lunch every
Or you
week
get
and that's
paid
my
for that deal or
preferred.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
There could be multiple, and
You're
you
in
don't want
cahoots.
questions from the client, right?
No.
Why is that person your preferred lender?
My
If you say
vocabulary
trusted,
changed.
But I think
Trusted
it's important
lender.
to have that trusted lender. See, I'm already doing better,
There you
guys.
go.
I think it's important because for me or for any professional that's in this industry, we know that deals are they don't just necessarily come to you. But when they do like that, whenever someone's like, hey, I heard about you, we want a house to go see, and then they go see it and they're like, hey, who's your lender? We need to get pre-approved. Like that, it doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
And when agents understand that, it's like, your job becomes easier because you're not delaying things and possibly losing a client because you weren't urgent. And there's plenty of other clients out there that they're going to have longer timelines and you can respond a little slower. But when someone's serious, like, okay, it's go time.
Right.
So
Well, I want to be everyone's trusted agent now.
there you go.
Ooh.
my email signature's changing.
But no, I mean that's all good stuff too, and like just meeting with your lender, going back to like having lunches and talking with them, and being able to have the tools in your toolbox that you can use to also go out there and sell clients. Right? There's all different kinds of just like the basic loan products, but every single day it almost feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's just different kinds of products and programs and different things out there, which you don't necessarily as a real estate agent need to learn every single tiny detail of it, but still have a general understanding of it, because you never know when you can sell an extra house or two out there. So Jacob, what are some like key loan products realtors should understand thoroughly to help guide their clients just more effectively?
Yeah, I think every single product that we offer, you need to know all the details of.
You are not my trusted.
I was about to make
You are
that.
now my preferred.
I was about to make that.
No.
Yeah.
That gets you in trouble real quick.
Brooke, you hit on it. I mean, there's hundreds of products out there, and the way that we've developed our company is to offer a lot of those products, right? We have traditional options, and we have non-qualifying mortgages. So people that don't fit into that traditional box, we have options available for them. So
Options are huge, I think.
yeah,
Oh, yes.
yeah, definitely. And I don't expect, or I don't think it's fair to have real estate agents thoroughly understand any product that we offer. I think having a general knowledge and an overview of the ones that you're probably going to come into more often, your FHA, your conventional loans, knowing kind of the overview of those is going to be pretty important.
I pride myself on not knowing the products.
Well, you
know?
can get yourself in trouble if you
Yeah.
talk too much about
Yes.
loan products.
I mean, guidelines are changing throughout a year by year, and to get into the details with the client as a realtor can get yourself into some trouble. Last thing you want to do is tell them something that's not true, and then they go talk to the lender, and then they're like, "No, that's not right," or "You actually don't fit into that product."
then you look like a moron.
I do like knowing the general products that are out there and available, like that are possible, that I know that have been done before.
Definitely.
And then I'll say, basically, products change all the time. It depends. I don't know what you qualify for. I don't want to, dive into your finances. That's the loan officer's job. So reach out to Jacob, and he will actually, find out about your scenario. What's your budget? What are you looking for? What's going to be the best, thing for you to do, like for your scenario, and then he's going to put the product based on it's customized,
Yeah.
Right.
And when you have a trusted lender,
Loving it.
when you have a trusted lender, you can be confident when you send your clients there to say, I don't care what product they end up with. I just know that the person I sent them to is going to put them in the best product for their situation.
No, I love that. Sorry, not to cut you
No,
off,
you're
but no, that's exactly what I was going to say, because so many agents out there, they they get nervous when their clients do start asking questions, and most of the time it is about money, right? Just with anything, not even just real estate, people are worried about money. Why are you smiling at me like that?
I'm enjoying myself. Sorry.
He has noticed that I already made a squeak once.
Oh, okay.
And
Did I
there's
do
a,
something? I didn't touch the mic. I swear.
I don't know. I'm also
Well,
wondering
anyways.
if you
I'll
can
tell you
hear-
later. I didn't
Okay.
interrupt you. You interrupted yourself, by
I
the way.
know, because of the look you were giving
But
me.
can you also hear the drinking probably too?
Yeah, there's this guy in this one podcast that I watch, and he sips his coffee, and he goes, and I'm like, dude.
So these lending
Stop.
products, Jacob.
Yeah.
No, but anyways, going back to what I was saying, so many agents get out there and they get in their head because they're like, oh crap, I don't know, I don't know the product. So then they feel stupid almost in front of the client.
Or
It's
worse, they go and educate themselves for days and weeks and weeks and weeks before they'll even
Yes.
put themselves in front of a client.
But
Yeah.
it's always, same thing. I do the same thing. And it's like, hey, there's all these different programs, and I may spit out some different things, but I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, though, like, let me get you to my trusted lender.
Yeah, a realtor is it's a difficult position to be in, because
It
if
is.
you want to be a good one, like, you have to know a little bit about, like, literally everything.
And then be resourceful.
Yeah, from lending to storm shelters to roofing.
Keep it going,
but the
keep it going.
good
What else?
thing
What
is electrical, design.
Yeah.
Foundations.
Foundations
Yeah,
and
scheduling time. Like, you have to know all this stuff.
construction and
it's
title and
But it's also nice because you don't have to know
Appraisals.
everything
Sorry,
about
I'm
everything. You
just
just
Curtis
got to know.
gave our
You got to know
audience
enough.
Anxiety.
He did what? Oh my God.
I just wanted to see if the mic would pick that up for you.
Well, it will.
Okay, keep going.
It's
I'm
not
sorry.
Christmas time. That wasn't a jingle bell.
Okay, keep going. Sorry. Or did you lose track?
I'm done.
And I kind of want to touch on a couple of points there is, Curtis, what you were saying, kind of a easy way to explain that would be, this is a partnership, but we want realtors to stick to what they're best at, and that's being a realtor. we don't expect them to be great at being a loan officer.
You
And-
don't want us to qualify them first?
Correct. Yeah, and the same thing. We want to be partners and collaborative, but we want to stay in our own lanes.
We don't want our loan officers being realtors.
right. I could probably do a pretty bad job at writing
Make
up
sure
a
you go look
contract.
at 100 houses with your realtor.
Yeah, or advising
Thanks,
them
Jacob.
on
Yeah,
because
definitely.
that would be the worst if you have a goal in mind with your client, and then one of your trusted, who will soon be not trusted partners, tells them, that gives them advice that's completely going to ruin the plan that you had for that person.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had a lender do that.
You know what makes the worst lending partner is whenever they say, "Hey, you know what? You should talk to my buddy that sells houses."
Oh no, I had a lender and straight up told my client to ask me for a big discount to help them out.
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
like, did you ask him if he was going to give a discount?
So you're gonna
man.
make up for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, how many times have we said you can get a credit from your lender?
I mean, I don't say that. But,
I don't say that
Yep,
either, but
yep.
I know that it happens, quite often.
But Brooke, back to your point is, and I do this in my business is to not be afraid to tell clients that you don't know the answer to something.
Right.
I think it shows a sign of respect for both ways, both parties. Of hey, I don't know that answer right off the top of my head, especially on this side of the transaction because guidelines are changing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go look that up for you and I'll get back to you. So realtors can use that too. Like if they don't feel nervous to not know the answer to something, say, I don't know. Be honest with the client and they'll
Yes.
totally respect you for that and give them advice of go talk to Jacob, go talk to your loan officer about this. Or I can reach out to your loan officer for you and ask that question, get back to you on that. Because
I knew I trusted you.
Well, we talk about it all the time, and I'm already losing my train of thought. Back to like just say that you don't know is fine because I forgot what I was going to say. It was going to be beautiful too,
sure.
man.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
going to be amazing.
It's gonna come to you.
it will.
It
Realtor
will.
brain. Well, the next part, and I think you just kind of talked about it, is communication, right? So just having that little bit of communication and understanding how to do that, which brings us to our next question, like what are the best practices for seamless communication between realtors and lenders? I mean, it's throughout a transaction, but I think just overall in general.
Yeah, I think setting up expectations up front, like if you're just now starting to get into the industry and you're trying to find that trusted lender to partner with, I think it's best to set up lines of communication early in that relationship of, hey, we just got client XYZ under contract. Here's what I expect from my loan officer and vice versa. Loan officer, what is your points of communication to the realtor? So for us, I like to keep our realtors up to date as much as possible so that they don't have to worry about where our transaction is. I want my realtor partners out there gaining more business. I don't want them sitting around being like, oh, I wonder where we are with this
like,
loan.
Where's my appraisal?
Right.
Where's this? Yeah.
And to go along with that, we also introduce ourselves to the listing agents on every transaction to make sure
That's
that
awesome.
I like lenders.
So I wouldn't want to micromanage the deal either. Like I want
Yeah.
to just know it's getting done.
Right.
And if there's an issue, then I don't want to know about it unless I have to step in to help.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, how annoying is it if a listing agent is reaching out to you as a buying agent of, hey, where are we in the loan process? You have to then call the loan officer, get an update if you haven't been updated already, and then communicate that back to the listing agent. That could be 30 minutes of your time that you could be cold calling or you could be talking to somebody else.
I like that, and I think that there are some loan officers that won't talk to listing agents, and I don't like that. Why so secretive? We're not asking for their personal information. We're part of the deal. We just want to know, where we're at or what's going on. Is there anything I
what
can
are we
do
waiting
to
on?
help?
Yeah, right.
What document do you need from that buyer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the listings
Yeah.
that I've had and the lenders reached out to me on the listing side, I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. We're waiting on conditions to be met. Well, what are the conditions?
Hey,
Well, we
it's
can't
still
tell
just
you.
telling me.
Okay. Thank
Right,
you.
right.
I'm going to use you for my next buyer, by the way. Not.
I remember what I was going to say.
Ooh,
We're way past it now.
That's
well,
okay.
But
Bring it back.
realtors, when they get worried, really any profession or anybody when they're going into a new field, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense why people get nervous and worried about not knowing the answer and not, appearing as the expert. But if the client, we should never be worried about not knowing a question that a client's going to ask us, because if they're asking the question, they also don't know. Right? And so they don't know if it's something that you should or shouldn't know or anything like that. I feel like when you have experience and you have knowledge and you've been doing it for a while, you feel a lot more comfortable saying, I don't know, because you're confident that that's not a common question. When you're new, you're not sure if it's a common question or if it's something that you should know, and you lock up. Just be okay with not knowing.
Do you know what I tell my clients? Oh, I thought you were the professional here. I thought you already knew everything.
You
That's
said,
what you tell your
you said that to him?
Yeah, every time.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
That's how he's a top producer.
Yeah.
I was
tips
telling-
from Casey
Not-
Tudor.
I was telling Jacob this morning, I had this client, I said, hey, do you have a spare key? And he's like, yeah. So he goes and gets it, and he's like sticking it in there to make sure it works. I'm like, dude, thank you so much for, making sure that works. And he looked at me and he's like, this isn't the first time I've done this. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you're an effing idiot.
And that was who you were doing that with?
Well, one of my clients, I'm not going to say their names.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Jacob.
Oh, I told him about that this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was give a client named
Yeah,
Jacob too.
it really hurt my feelings when he said that to me.
Yeah.
I was just trying to do
He's
my
like,
best.
that's something I've done.
We just got him on the podcast, and he's already about to leave.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we at? I totally messed it up.
Let's drill Jacob with questions.
Let's do it. How can realtors build a strong referral network with lenders to benefit their clients?
Yeah, I actually love this question. I think it's a topic that probably realtors overlook on ways to improve their
All the
business,
time. Big
right?
time.
And don't realize that it's little things that they can change to help clear them up or free them up to gain more business. And I go on realtor meetings all the time with people that I'm not currently working with, right? Trying to gain their business. And eventually they'll say, I have a guy or a girl that is my VA specialist or my FHA specialist or great with first-time home buyers. Oh. And my initial thought is that seems like a lot of work for a realtor to figure out, to ask those extra questions to the client of, where am I directing this person to go? And it puts a lot of pressure on the realtor of being like, what if I sent them to the wrong person? Or what if in my mind, I thought they were conventionally approved or that's the best product for them. I sent them to my conventional specialist and then they didn't even consider FHA. And that might be better long-term for the client or even short-term for the client. So trying to find a network of lenders that have a wide variety of products that they can offer, I think is pretty important. It takes a lot of pressure off of the realtor. But that you can have that initial conversation, ask those basic questions of the client, get to know your client a little bit better, but then direct them to somebody that can then vet them even more. And they have a wide variety, a lot of tools in their tool belt to look at the best product for that client. So I just think it clears up a lot of maybe confusion from the realtors, especially if you're a new realtor. You probably don't know the ins and outs of FHA, VA, conventional, that you can direct to somebody that does know.
Yeah, we're going back to what we were talking about. Like we don't know lending, right? Let us be the realtor. So I don't want to tell somebody, oh, go to my FHA person, and maybe a conventional loan or something is a better option for them.
Right.
So I love that.
As a brokerage too, we like to try to partner up and try to get our agents to have good relationships with our trusted partners, whether it doesn't matter what industry it is, because we feel like, a lot of realtors don't see that as a value. And I understand, because I used to think that, like, why would the brokerage that I'm with, why would I use their trusted people when I can go form my own relationships for my business? And it took me a long time to realize that, well, those relationships, they're not there to get me more deals. I exist to get them more deals. That's why they're taking me to lunch and pursuing me. I'm not pursuing them. And so we need to make sure that we are partnering with people that we not just say are our trusted partners, but that we actually trust, because real estate every single deal is different. And there's challenges that you face along the way, and you don't realize it until you're in a challenge that you don't really realize it until you lose a deal over having a bad
Oh,
partner,
I've seen it
you know?
time and time again.
Yeah.
And just to touch on the preferred lender or trusted lender. Sorry for the brokerage, right? I'm working.
If I wasn't stuck here, I'd slap you.
Well, I mean, you're not stuck.
Or
You
if
can
I had
get
Curtis's arms, I could reach you.
You couldn't.
They couldn't.
No, I forgot.
Okay,
Dang
so
it.
I'm going to talk about it from a volume standpoint, because really anyone getting into the business, or most people, are wanting to make tons of money. They may not know what that looks like or how to do that, and then they may give up on it because they realize it's so hard and they don't know how to build teams and all that. But whenever I'll have an agent that is underneath me, and they'll say, "Well, I know you have your trusted partner, but my sister-in-law,
Yes.
Lynn's,"
Yes.
and then, okay, so here's why you should use my trusted vendor. And then they go, "I know, but I'm going to support her." Okay, that's great. I understand. And you know what? She may be good, and maybe a possibility
Maybe it
for an
works.
option in the future. Who knows? But what usually ends up happening is she didn't qualify the buyers right because she's brand new, or because she doesn't have support at her office, or she's not willing to find out the answers, or willing to, get her knees a little dirty to get that buyer qualified. Or you get in almost to the end of the contract and something happens and I can't get a hold of her, or trust that she's going to call me, because I
do
can
the things that need to
I can
be-
pick up the phone. Yeah. And hey, Jacob, man, my newer agent isn't, I don't understand what the problem is. Can you explain it to me? And he's like, "Yeah, this is the problem." Oh, that's what's going on. I call the agent back and like, "Hey, your buyer just needs to do this."
Yes, and
Yes.
fix the deal.
But I can't do that with these lenders I don't know or won't be responsive because
Or
they're
have no relationship with either,
Yeah.
right? Because we've never done a deal with
Yeah.
them
Well,
before.
that's exactly what I was going to say. So I'm glad you said that.
You're welcome.
I've seen many agents that done not necessarily like their aunt, but they'll go to like all these networking events, right, for their local board and stuff, and they'll see the same lender that's there all the time, and they just end up becoming friends with them, right? And so they want to use them, and then as soon as one thing goes bad in the deal, the lender may just like walk away and not help or side with somebody else or whatever else. But if you're using a trusted partner from your brokerage, right, we're giving them volume, right? So at that
Right.
point, they're going to take care of you.
correct.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to get at. Both of those points. Why we do that as a brokerage? Because as a brokerage, if we can provide that value to the lender, when a brand new agent comes in and sends a deal to Jacob and it's their first deal ever, or let's say it's a part-time agent and they're sending a deal to Jacob for the first time in, I don't know, 6-7 months. Okay. It doesn't matter to Jacob because they're with the company that is sending volume. So they're going to treat that agent like a rock star
And go over and beyond.
and go over and beyond because of the relationship with the brokerage. And then to your point, when things go south or when things, we don't know what's really going on, when we know who we can contact to try to see what we can do to get the deal to go through, that's the whole key, is to get the deal to the closing table.
Right.
If a lender doesn't do the right, just like with realtors, if we don't set expectations in the beginning, if we don't qualify our people, if we don't show them the right houses, if when we're doing listings, if we don't get the house ready correctly, then that's why some houses take several realtors to go through, because you get a realtor who just was told, go get pictures and put it on the MLS and it'll sell.
Yeah.
Right. Especially after we went through a couple years of you could do that
and just do whatever your sellers want.
yeah. Just
Yes.
don't challenge your sellers. Like whatever they tell you to do it. Right. Yeah. But that's why we want to have that volume and why we want to use people that we trust and that we've used before. Because if you don't get that deal to the and I wish that it's like teaching our clients, why they need to do something, and then they figure it out when things go wrong. I should have listened to you, right? And it's unfortunate that we can't take that experience and pass it on to the next client, because the next client's got to learn the same thing. It's the same thing with
it all
realtors.
goes to what you don't know what you don't know. And if you're considering getting your real estate license, the one thing you should think about is, and it's funny, all these people, I won't get into this, but it's like, oh, I want a boutique, brokerage. But it's like, you want to go somewhere that the learning curve is so huge where they can knock that curve down for you.
Yeah.
And that could just be as simple as having a good lender. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, Curtis, to your point, is that the small things matter in transactions in this industry. That, if you're going above and beyond for your client initially and asking specific questions that gets you to learn kind of the needs of the client, short term and long term, that sets us up for a smooth transaction throughout. To your point, Casey, is that a boutique lender is nice. We like to kind of think of ourselves as a boutique lender. We're a brokerage, and so what that means is that we have a wide variety of products that we can offer to people. But because we're partnered with some of the biggest wholesale lenders in the nation, we can still perform as a boutique lender, give that quality of service to the clients and to the realtors involved, but have the backing of a huge company to get things done quickly and efficiently.
Best of
That's
both
just
worlds
where-
right there.
Yeah, that's just where a majority of businesses are.
Well, it's funny because
going.
we could kind of be seen as a boutique if you walk in the door, because most realtors are in the field, and so you might have 10, 15, 20 people here. It's not like
Yes.
it's not like you walk into Wall Street, and
Right.
there's
Yeah,
like
and
a
it's like-
thousand people like hammering the
And
phones.
we got digital boards and be like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we just got 3 houses under contract.
Oh, we're,
that would be
we're totally
cool.
doing that now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, that's kind of
Now I want
cool.
one and a buzzer that goes off every time.
I just want that environment, like papers flying everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
where's my contracts?
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Maybe one
I'd
day.
feel good. I'd feel good.
To give you a pretty bad analogy that you can roll your eyes at if you want, but you can kind of think of us as like the Cheesecake Factory of lenders. We've got a
I like Cheesecake Factory.
huge menu, right? And so instead of asking you guys to learn that menu or even read that
Everything
menu,
is good there. That's a
Right?
good analogy.
so we've got a fan over here, right? But we'll read it for you. We'll know that menu for you and hopefully be able to take care of pretty much anybody you come into contact with, right? We want you guys, for a baseball analogy. Now I'm just doing analogies, I feel like.
Analogies are good.
We're
Yeah.
good.
Especially sports
But
analogies.
we want you guys batting 1,000 every time you step up to the plate with a client. Hopefully, you have a product, right, that you can point them to, or at least have us point them to.
Yeah, and it's every time I get a client and they might have concerns, I just say, go ahead and call the lender, and if he can't qualify you, he's going to have someone that might have a product for you. Again, to your point earlier, it's like I don't need to have 10 different lenders for 10 different things. Now, I do have guys who can do bank statements and those kinds of things, but like I'm going to tell my client, like, don't just reach for that call. Get the best option you can.
Yes.
Don't just assume. But
yeah.
let that be between you guys, and then we can go out and do what I do.
That's exactly right. And the process that we've put in place and we've seen success with is that we go with traditional options first and foremost. Usually down payment is a lot less if you go with those traditional options. Interest rates are a lot better. So the way that we kind of look at clients whenever they come to us is traditional options first, non-QM products after that. And then we're fortunate enough to be partnered with a sister company of ours called Berry Rock Homes. Yes. They're a lease option company. What they do is they have their own vetting process. They get people pre-approved, and they'll buy the home for people that aren't mortgage ready right now. Hopefully the client has talked to us at that point, and we can put a roadmap in place for them to get mortgage eligible. Mm-hmm. But on the realtor side of things, nothing really changes for you guys. Your client still is the same. It just so happens that Berry Rock Homes is coming in and purchasing the home. So you still, go shop with the client, make sure they're comfortable with the house that you buy. You write the contract, you do everything the same. It just so happens that Berry Rock Homes is on the contract and not your client.
Yeah. Cool.
Nope, I love it. All good stuff.
I'll ask, and this is kind of moving on to the next, and I'm taking your job here, Brooke. But
Well, the next question, I think we pretty much just answered.
I do too. That's why I was going to go to the last one of, in your mind, Jacob, what can we as realtors, or just any realtor that you are deal with, what can we do to like, make sure that we're working together to make sure that the transaction is smooth, it's timely? Is there anything you can tell us that would make your job easier as
hell out of the way.
a lender?
Yeah, or pet peeves.
Yeah, or pet peeves. Yeah. I mean, I know we already talked about, obviously stay in your lane, but is there any like specific things like that we can do that would make your job easier?
For sure. I think we've already touched on, I think, a few of these.
Yeah.
Communication is above and beyond number one for me. And it goes both ways. As a realtor, I'm sure you guys have talked to lenders in the past of being like, this is what I expect from you as a lender. But it goes both ways. Like we expect things from realtors as well. And that's the only way to have a true partnership in this industry, is that understanding of, okay, I expect things from this partner of mine. They expect this in return.
And then it's trusted.
At that point. So, I mean, so pet peeves, right? Not knowing that a contract has changed or an addendum has been written to add seller concessions or something, or
Sometimes we want to hide those things. from
right,
you, man.
right. But they changed the process for us, and
Send you
so
the inspection report? Is that what you want?
no, I don't want to see that.
It's not how I was taught.
And also, we don't ever hide anything, so
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
sure you
Just
don't.
wanted to correct that
Yeah.
on the record.
As he's hiding water in that coffee cup right now.
That was Casey's doing
It's vodka.
his the appeal to the camera.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Hey,
No, you're good.
Don't expose my secrets.
Yeah, I think communication is above and beyond number one. I also think maybe realtors are scared to ask lenders to do something for them that will benefit the client. So like a good example of that is we're about to be in a market, hopefully, that is back to being good for the clients. Hopefully these interest rates will start to come back down a little bit, and that buying power will be there for our clients, but that also comes competition, right? We're going to see it. We're probably going to see back to 15, 20 offers for those good properties.
Sweet.
Right?
I love that. I love that.
Don't get me excited.
Yeah.
I love that because I became an expert in that market, and
Yeah.
if it happens again, I'm ready. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm going to be above those other agents out there that just refused.
Right.
But
But don't be afraid to lean on your trusted lender as well, because we can do things that might help the client win that deal. Something that I offer my clients is that if you are worried about an offer that you're going to make, you think that there's going to be 10, 15 offers on that, the likelihood of you offering the same thing as another agent is probably pretty high.
Yes.
And what we can do is copy us on that email over to that listing agent. We'll then give the listing agent a call, talk to them about the pre-approval that we've gotten for our client, how strong that pre-approval is. Yeah. If you have the same offer as another person and we reach out to that listing agent, and that could be the deciding factor of,
That'd be
okay,
huge for
we're
me
going to
if
go.
I was a listing agent.
I know. I'm like sitting here and I'm like,
Nice.
Jacob, I think I trust you.
Hey, I do have a question though.
Oh, I do too.
This is mine. Mine's about a pet peeve. You want to go real
Go
quick?
for it.
Okay. Is it a pet peeve of yours? Because I know some realtors that like they protect their client, like anyone talking to their clients at all. Like they don't want anyone talking to
that
their
would be
clients.
bad.
Like is that like a? Do you ever come across that? And would that be a pet peeve of yours? As realtors who like just don't want you to deal with their clients very much? I would assume that the lender would have to.
Do his job. Yeah.
But do realtors ever do that to you? I know they do that with like title companies and all sorts of.
Process.
Yeah, what are their
Yeah.
names?
Casey Tudor. No. It does happen. For whatever reason, right? I don't know the specific reasons why realtors do some of that stuff, but it happens. They want to be quarterback, right? They want to be, and sometimes that pressure is put on them by the client.
Fair.
They're
Yeah, I can
they're
see
the
that
first ones that are
sometimes.
getting contact in most cases, right? You're getting a realtor before you get a loan officer most of the time. So
I would hope, anyways. That's my big pet peeve.
Yeah.
right. And so I think sometimes it is the pressure that they're being put under on the client side of things. It makes my job more difficult. I can tell you that
Yeah.
for sure. But hopefully, on our side, after a couple of conversations or that initial consultation call, they then trust us. That client can be have two quarterbacks at that point of establishing that, hey, I'm taking care of the financing. Everything else is your realtor. You can go to them for anything,
Well,
but
That was a very political answer too. Like I'm like trying to say those realtors, darn those realtors, and you might have realtors that are like that are like trusted for you, and you're like, well, it could be that you're like backing them up as to why they do it. I thought that was a good answer.
well, like every
Not throwing
client is
anyone
different.
under the bus,
Realtors are different.
Well, that's a good
Yeah.
example how you probably treat people. And now I forgot what I was going to say.
I knew it. I'm
but,
sorry.
but having a good demeanor is really important. Like, because if you can talk to someone, because I've had so many conversations with referrals, and as soon as they talk to me, generally they're just like, oh, like you're not what we expected. You're just super cool, and like, or that's how they refer me out. Like, dude, this guy's just chill, but he really knows his stuff. But my question to you was, well, one of my biggest pet peeves in this industry is commissions, and it's interesting to me that you go sit down at the table with someone, and the first thing they want to talk about is how much money they can get from you.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I used to be a barber, so it was the same thing. And I like this analogy better because everyone cares about how they look and how their haircuts turn out. So you want to come and complain to me about how much I charge right before I start cutting your hair.
Not a great
You want
time.
me to do my haircut for half price? Well, if I do that, you're going to be out of here in 5 minutes, and I'm probably going to miss some pretty big spots, right? And so, how do you deal with that? From it, because I know most lenders are like, well, that's just part of the game, but like it's got to wear on you a little bit. So how do you deal with that with the client so you don't lose a deal, and then how do you cope with it? Like, do you drink lots of alcohol?
Right.
Yes.
You definitely have to have a short memory, right? When deals don't go your way, or you're not able to win the business of a client. We're in a market currently where shopping is happening, right? The client is looking for multiple options, and I'm just honest up front with the client of what our option looks at like, and on our side of the table, there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of things that we have to do for, fair lending and equal opportunity. So we can't specifically adjust our commission just because we like the client, or
I wish we could do that, but then we got in trouble for price fixing.
I was just about to ask, like, don't name any names, but are there lending companies out there that realtors should look out for that like what are some shady practices that lenders do?
I know.
Like in today's market?
Yeah, like right that we should be looking out for to avoid. Do you know like?
Yeah.
Again, no names, but like, what are they doing?
No, I'll name names.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I'll give you names.
We went from political to now we're going to be direct.
Right. I don't think that, like I said, there's a lot of red tape on our side of things. And so being shady or trying to do things without people noticing doesn't really happen all that often. What I always like to tell clients is make sure if you're shopping, you're comparing apples to apples.
Yes.
These two loan products, because there are ways to structure loans that
Points is a big one, probably.
Yeah, points. And so if a client comes to me and says, hey, I appreciate you giving me this information, I am shopping you. What I always say is that, whether you go with us or not, let me take a look at that loan estimate or that fee sheet
awesome.
so that I can make sure that you're comparing, because that fee sheet might come with a lower interest rate than what I'm offering, but they might be charging commission up front included in your closing costs.
Which you may be cool with or not, but
Right.
you want to know.
You should
Right.
know.
And
yeah.
so if that is what you're cool with, if that's what you want to do, let me restructure what I've done for you already to match that so that you can have two options that are the exact same, and then figure it out from there.
That's cool. I always hate, trying to get a client over to a trusted lender, and then all of a sudden
You guys are doing great
you get
with
it.
that,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
I appreciate it. We're changed people, but you get them over to your trusted lender, and then all of a sudden you get a call from another lender. Hey, we're taking care of this file, and you're like, or you don't. You just get a pre-approval, and you're like, dang it. Because you feel bad for your lenders because you want to give them every deal possible for lots of reasons, because you want them to eat and you trust them, and then all of a sudden now it's like, oh my gosh, I'm dealing with something that starts with a U or an R
I was gonna say
or an N,
Or
I'll-
B.
Well, I'll just say this:
Now we're
one of the biggest
or a B
hurdles,
or C.
yeah, or
EFG.
one of the biggest hurdles I feel like, or one of the most stressful, is whenever one of your veterans come to you and they use one of those companies that advertise as specialists for them, and those companies are the ones who care about them the least.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is so frustrating. Those
You
have been
get
the
what you pay for
those
with
have been the
anything.
nightmare deals that
They really
we
are.
have stories for.
Well, that was-
And
I
it's
was-
why people, sorry to interrupt,
no,
but
you're good.
it's why realtors try to stay away from niche customers like that, because they've been burned or they've had bad experience with them. I love VA clients. I absolutely love working with VA clients because it feels good to help a veteran, for one, and it's not as hard as some lenders think it is. You know,
Yeah.
we're lucky to have wholesale partners that are great at VA loans, and that certainly helps. But I just think, like to your point, that it could slow down the process if you get paired with a lender that doesn't have the client's best interest in mind, even if they are a lender that is VA specific or whatever.
Well, I've passed like several handful of clients I had. They're like, oh, I'm going to go VA, but really it wasn't in their best interest to actually.
It wasn't
go
a good
VA.
product for them.
No, because they made good money. They were going to put a significant amount.
They
of
wanted a
money
lower
down.
payment.
Yeah, no. I was
I'm
watching
just
your
watching.
head.
I'm just looking. I just feel like I'm
But
just.
tennis.
I wanted to point
Heads
out
on a
something
swivel.
because I think this is a good, valuable thing for agents out there, because this just happened to me, and you said it, like looking over pre-approvals and like what is it, and okay, they got a better interest rate, whatever. I had a client literally just a couple weeks ago, and they were shopping around, and then they gave us a pre-approval, and it was for like $50,000 more than what they were asking for. And or that they could actually get approved for, not asking for. I looked at you guys, so I got.
Sorry.
Just making noises in the mic.
I'm sorry. I'm making noises in the
They're
mic.
over there. That's why you guys are on your own
let's go.
couch.
We're the professional couch over
Yeah,
here.
yeah, we're the professional couches.
I'm fine with that.
Good to know.
But anyways, and that lender that they got it from did not even give them any kind of like net sheet, no breakdown, no nothing. And so I was like, that doesn't make me feel good. They ended up going with my trusted lender at that time, but yeah, that's just huge, because it could be confusing as an agent if you don't know a ton about lending and you have $190,000 pre-approval, a $200, a $250. Why are you laughing?
I just wanted to see if I could get a reaction out of you.
Yeah, you know what's fun?
Talking is already hard enough for me.
I know, but
What's
I
so
was
crazy?
Like about to say something, but yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, your turn.
So yeah, what's so frustrating is whenever, or it's honestly it's unacceptable, is whenever you're a real estate agent and you can't go back to your client with an answer one way or another.
Yes.
So they're like, well, what's going on? Why are we delayed? I don't know. Well, can you find out? I mean, I've been trying, but no one's responding. What do you mean? This is your job. You're supposed to know these things.
That's the worst.
Well, if you would have
feeling.
gone with my trusted lender, then I could know.
Yeah, well, I mean more on the listing side. You know, you don't know what's going on with buyers. No one's telling you, and they won't tell you.
And then it looks like you're
And
not doing
but
your job.
but they want you to extend it a week. But why? Can't tell you. We're meeting conditions. You know? Oh my God.
That's what my email said.
that is
I know what
frustrating.
conditions are. I need to know which one.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And Casey, that's a great point, because kind of back to, like, I feel like there's a lot of fear in this industry of not knowing the answer or admitting that something has gone wrong.
Yes.
And you just, that's not a good partnership.
I
That's
love
not
to just take ownership, man.
right. Tell them
I'm not
that
going to
this,
throw you under the bus to the client. I
Right.
just
Yeah,
need to know.
Yeah, one big thing is as an agent, especially if you're starting out or if you're experienced, it doesn't matter. Do not go to your client with an issue and just drop it to them and say, "Hey, we have a problem,
Yeah.
and this is the problem."
No,
you
figure out
probably
the problem.
need a solution.
Yes,
Like
yes.
this is what I think. Or this is our next step. It may not. We may not get a resolution, but in my experience, this is what we were going to try to do next. Or you have or hey, we're going to have a foundation guy come look at this. Not be like, "Hey, your house is falling apart,"
right.
and then they're like, "Oh."
That's the quickest way to be looking for more houses.
Right.
And start the process over. And back to, like, you know, when I was thinking of like lenders that not, you know, I wouldn't know if, I mean, it could be considered a shady practice because, yeah, there's a lot of red tape that it makes it really hard to do anything like against guidelines. But what I typically see is I just see lenders sometimes will over promise and under deliver when it comes to like how fast they can get something done, or yeah, we could do that. That's totally fine. Yeah,
Or they forget to set up your recast and won't admit it.
you know, or they don't order an appraisal on time, or they work the deal at the last minute, and then that's the delay. But but again, they go back to the we got to meet conditions, you know, and it's not they won't tell you that they screwed up and dropped the ball. That's the stuff that I typically see when I get frustrated working with other lenders is just not giving a honest picture of reality of what's going on and of that borrower too, because I want to know so that I know what to expect and how to set expectations when I'm talking to them and showing them houses and you know, can we go up in price, or you know, is this a tight budget for them? Like, is this what they should be looking at? Things like that. And how soon can they expect to close? Like, you know, if they have to be in by a certain date because of, you know, the school year, or just whatever, so many different, you know, reasons, you know, is it realistic for them to be thinking that way? And I see an overpromise, underdeliver is probably what I see more often than not.
And it should be the opposite, right? You should be setting expectations and hopefully, you know, hitting those expectations or being even better than those expectations. Right. And it kind of goes back all to communication. Everything that you just said is back to our original point of whatever the last question was, right? Of communication is key on that. And, you know, I could sit here and tell you, and this is true, that our submission from submission to clear to close currently is 12 days. That's our average.
Not including
currently.
weekends? Is that how y'all count that?
It does include weekends,
Hey, see, there's just some honesty there. There would be some lender, I can close in 21 days.
But I'm not going to sit there and tell the client that, right? I'm not going to sit there and tell every single realtor, hey, write it for 12 days, because that's what we can.
Told all the realtors.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
But
Well,
we still
he's
wanna
saying
have-
it's possible.
No,
we
I
still
know.
want to have 30-day contracts. We still want to set that expectation and then hopefully meet that expectation or be better than the expectation.
But it's nice to know that you have that option if you have a client that does need to get something done.
We're about to be in a very competitive market, hopefully, right? And so maybe writing a 25-day contract gives you the leg up. Obviously, talk to your lender before you do that to make sure it's possible. But maybe
If your
that's
lender can't do it, we got one for you. They can do
there
it
you
in
go.
12.
There you go.
Jacob on the couch.
But be creative, right? Be creative and try to, back to one of my other points was that talk to your lender and see if it's possible. Can you help me get a leg up on the competition?
And if they tell you it's not possible, they're not trusted.
That's right.
No, just kidding.
Well, you want to wrap it up?
Well, I was just say what we're trying to tell you all is to use Jacob to be your new trusted lender, and we'll put his contact information below in the description.
Yeah, and if you forget his name, just think Jacob Crouch on the couch, man.
Yes.
Open books.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been
Absolutely.
Yeah,
been a
it's
lot
been
of fun.
fun.
Thank you.
Do we have a one would you rather
I do.
question that we can
It's a good
do?
one.
Is it a
Yeah,
good
I
one?
looked it up just a second ago. Okay,
Lauren, were you looking some up over there? Okay,
Jacob.
Good. Okay, good.
this one's you can answer first. Would you rather switch your body with your ex or your grandmother?
Oh my God.
Switch my body
Your body.
This is
with my
intense.
ex.
Any
Yeah.
ex? Any
Any
ex?
ex?
Any
We'll
ex?
say the one prior to your previous
Or my
current,
grandmother.
or your grandma.
My gosh.
Well, my grandma's dead, so
Yeah.
my ex.
Ew.
Ow.
I mean, I guess just getting some rest.
Oh,
I guess I
man.
would
Finally get some
I
rest.
am
Chris.
tired. No,
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I'd be in
You
heaven,
guys,
I guess.
Jacob's supposed to answer first.
No, you guys go ahead.
No, you're our guest.
I guess.
You did say Jacob answer first, and we're like, yeah, my grandma.
Gosh, I think I have to say my grandma. If I say my ex, I think my wife gets mad at that point.
That's
so
fair. But then she's got to sleep with your grandma.
yeah,
record-
it's
Ooh.
true.
Well,
The-
you
the
just
good
have to
thing
throw that
here-
in there.
the
Do I
good-
still have my head?
No.
Its
You
entire
just said
body.
body, though.
It's like those movies where they switch.
Yeah, Freaky Friday kind of
Yeah.
thing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say my grandma on that.
Those movies are hilarious because we watched whatever the newer one that's out, and I could just tell Theo's like, "What is he's my 6-year-old. He's like, "What is going on?" The dad's the son, the son's the dad. Like, he's
It was
going to
different
work.
time.
Yeah, different time. Yeah.
It has the guy from The Office in it, right? That one. that the one that you're talking about?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like pretty new.
What would you do,
Yeah.
Casey?
I'd choose my ex, I'm sure.
Keep it young.
Keep it young. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I've never seen my grandma naked, so I can't say for sure. Do we want to do one more, or are we good?
I think we're good. That was
Okay.
a pretty. That was a
Yeah,
pretty.
that was pretty.
good.
Like, I don't want any more from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to think about my naked grandma anymore.
My wife is going to love this episode. She'll be like, "Oh my God, this is totally you.
I'll
You
text
totally
her.
would."
I'll text her. Say, hey, just don't listen to this episode.
Oh, she would. And she'd be like,
We'll
"I am
text
not
Claire
surprised."
And ask her, the conversation at the dinner table will be which ex.
Right.
There you go. Yeah. There you go, Claire. I want to know.
I had to remember which one was
ex.
before her. We've been married for 10 years.
Oh,
So-
you
Good
know.
answer, Casey.
You know.
Now it's nice because
That was a
like
good answer.
before.
Claire, it is approved.
2-3 years into it, I'd be like,
He
okay,
knows,
well,
he
was
knows.
it you that we went to this concert with? But now we've been together so long, it's like it's always
who you
it's
went to
basically
the
always
concert
been
with.
her
Yeah.
Yep.
at this point, which is really nice.
Yes.
Talk about political.
Yeah.
And politically
Good
correct
stuff.
there. You know.
It's good stuff. Okay. Well, as we come to an end, I just want to say thanks for listening. If you like our content, give us a like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified for more upcoming topics. And feel free to leave a comment in the description below.
Lots of comments.
Lots of comments.
Signing
Let's go out
off.
there and kick some butt.
I'm Casey Tudor. It's my co-host Curtis Haddock, Brooke Massey, and Jacob Crouch on the couch.
Thanks, guys.